With over 100,000 DVDs to choose from, including classics, new releases, and TV series, there has never been a better time to join Netflix. Visit netflix.com/labrats for a free 2-week trial. Plans start at $4.99 a month. You keep each movie as long as you want, and there are never any late fees. Cancel anytime, plus watch movies over the internet for no extra charge. Visit netflix.com/labrats.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is your favorite show about technology, where we demystify all the technology in your house and we explain all the buzzwords.
Something doesn't seem right here. Where's our camera? Where's Matt?
Hey,
Matt!
Hey!
Oh!
Come on down here, buddy.
I just love our new lights.
Oh yeah, of course. So Matt, so of course our studio's constantly changing. We're making lots of changes to Lab Rats these days. And these are our new light panels. What are they, Mark?
Light panels. They're LED lights.
LED lights.
You know regular lighting?
Yes.
Like the old tungsten or the ones that you have in your ceiling?
Yeah.
Very hot.
Right.
These ones, they're actually pretty cool.
And super bright.
And super bright.
Is this better?
Thank you, Matt.
That looks more familiar.
All right. Well, today on the show, we're going to cover a technology that's called powerline networking. Powerline networking. Today on Lab Rats, and it's kind of a handy little networking technology for your home, which we'll explain in full and explain how you install it and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yes.
But first, we have to pay the bills. We have to pay Matt's salary, even though he might have a salary much longer. So let's take a break. When we come back,
No, don't go wandering away.
Easy. At least some of these new lights that kind of look pretty. Prettier. You do too. Honestly, you do.
Thank you. It means a lot to me to hear you say that.
I know. All right. Powerline networking. Let's put you to good use today. What is it? Why is it? Why should we use it? And why is it fun?
Okay. Let's set up a problem for you first.
Mm-hmm.
You are on the 3rd floor of your house.
Yes.
Or the top floor of your house.
Yes.
This is where your phone line comes in.
Right.
This is where your DSL modem comes in, or your cable modem.
My high-speed broadband internet connection.
Exactly.
Got it.
Okay. Now, you want to go down to the basement.
Yeah, because that's where I hang out in my rec room. I want to work on my laptop, and I want to watch a bit of TV.
Right.
Sure.
Now, you've got a Wi-Fi router up top, so sending a wireless signal, allowing you to network anywhere in your house.
Not anywhere.
Not anywhere. It doesn't go to your basement.
That's right.
Because either you've got a concrete floor there, or you've got something in the way. It just doesn't like going through all of those floors.
Right, exactly. It has a range of about 30 meters, 30 yards, about 100 feet, somewhere in there. And
Yeah.
of course, every time it goes through a wall,
Yeah.
the signal drops by half or more or less, right? So
Yeah.
if you've got 3 floors and 100 feet, you're not going to have much of a signal
Exactly.
in the basement.
Yeah, it just dampens it and just scatters the signal,
Right.
unfortunately.
So there's a solution to that.
There are a few different solutions. One, you can get a really high-powered antenna, but it doesn't always work. Number 2, you can get a really long Ethernet cable.
Run it down the stairs,
Run it down
through
the
the kitchen,
stairs,
all the
yes.
way down the basement stairs and down into your rec room.
Or drill a hole through your wall, run it outside, and all the way into the basement. You know what?
Yeah, no.
This is home reno that we don't want to do.
No.
Thankfully, there's a better solution,
Hooray!
and it's called power line networking.
Powerline. No, this sounds, though, it was also known as home plug too, wasn't it, at some point?
Home plug, yeah. And there was this is way back in the day. This is a number of years back. There were a couple of different solutions out there. One of them was called HPNA, or Home Phone Networking Alliance.
Yeah.
And what that did is it used the phone lines in your house to allow you to send networking signals. So it's the same sort of thing that works with the DSL connection. It takes networking data and piggybacks it on top of your phone line.
Right.
Now, people figured, there's a phone upstairs, there's a phone downstairs, there's a phone on the main floor. So this is already creating a network throughout your house.
Right, so because existing wiring, basically.
Right.
Got it, okay.
So, of course, problems. With the DSL connection, you've got little filters to prevent this noise from bleeding into your other phone connections. It just caused general problems. So at about the same point, power line networking came around, and what that uses is the other network in your house, all of the power, going from place to place. You've got outlets in every room, and all of it's connected to the same source, back to your circuit breaker board or your fuse box.
So you're telling me that power line networking actually runs the high-speed networking signal through your, come here, Matt, one of these, through one of these, right?
Right.
So it's basically your electrical outlets become a network connection.
Electrical outlets become terminals.
Terminals.
Yeah, so that becomes a jack. So instead of having an Ethernet port, that becomes the Ethernet port. So now what you need is you need a pair of adapters that basically turn your Ethernet into power line networking.
Okay, so this is going to actually turn it into kind of electricity type of impulses to push it through the wire.
Right, so what it's doing is it's taking your electrical signal. An electrical signal is alternating current. It basically goes up and down, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. So it creates a wave throughout your house. And what is happening when you use power line networking is adjusting that wave slightly, piggybacking the data on top of that. Not enough to cause problems with items that need to be powered, but enough to get that signal from point A to point B.
Oh, very cool.
So what you need is a pair of adapters.
Yes, okay.
So the thing with these things is they plug into the wall. Right? So we've got these two prongs that will go into that outlet that you showed off a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, you got two Ethernet ports.
Internet in, power out.
Exactly.
Wow.
So well, as you'd have this set up here.
Do you want to like play pretend here?
Yeah, let's play pretend.
Okay.
So I'm upstairs.
Yeah.
In the place where the internet is coming into the house.
Yeah.
You're downstairs in the basement.
Okay.
So what we would do is we would take this adapter here.
Right.
And we would plug the Ethernet here on one side.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's your router over here.
Right.
So this is where it's coming in. So we plug this into the router, to one of these connections, like so. So now this part right here, if we can get this flat, this part now goes into the wall.
Right.
And it creates a bridge.
Okay.
All right? Now you, downstairs, will take that.
Okay.
Do the same thing.
So this is plugged into the wall.
That's plugged into the wall.
Right. It's plugged into the wall, and this is going to connect here. So it's plugged into the wall. All right, I'm going to go.
And now you plug the other end into a computer or a TiVo or some other device that needs an Ethernet port. I'm going to send a little zap. All right, so now what you're doing is these two devices here, one on either end, are creating essentially an extension cord between here and there.
Right, but it's actually in between is the power line system in your home. It's all the electricity cables in behind your walls.
Yes.
Right?
All up your power. So if all is proper, your computer shouldn't see this device at all. All it's seeing is an Ethernet connection out from one point to the other point. And this just simply acts as a bridge.
That's very cool technology. So let's talk a little bit about specifications then. You know, sort of. So does this move the signal at the same speed as just through a cable? How fast is it?
Well, your Ethernet cables will be 10 megabits, 100 megabits, or 1 gigabit. So 10, 100, 1000.
Right.
These ones, in the early days when they first came out, they were very, very slow.
Yeah, I remember.
About like 10 at maximum, so very slow, not very useful for anything that required a lot of data going back and forth, like a video signal, whatnot. These days, it's improved immensely, up to about 200 megabits per second potential throughput. So that's faster than your internet connection to the outside world by a good chunk.
Yeah.
It's faster than 802.11g.
Yes, the wireless standard.
Coming close to 802.11n.
Right.
And it is basically enough to transfer video back and forth on this line.
And that's a good point, right? So what it is, could be used for example, is in your living room, take one of these guys, a really great application, to plug it into the power socket behind your television, because of course these days televisions or some boxes that attach to your television, like a TiVo for example, need to use the internet. So it's an ideal solution to get the internet into your living room, where otherwise you have to run a long cable or deal with some complicated wireless networking type of technology. So a lot of people are using it for their TiVos these days, for example.
Yes, and DVD players, they also have Ethernet ports now for updating your Blu-ray firmware and all that stuff. So
good stuff. Okay, so let's look at the gear we need.
Well, we've got a couple of solutions right here. So we've got this one. This is from D-Link. This right here is the DHP 301 kit. Basically, you can get these alone or in pairs. If they're certified for this power line networking, you can actually mix and match them. But it's always best to get them at the same model, just to be 100% sure that you're going to be receiving it correctly.
So I could get like 6 of these, right? I could get the originating one from the router. And I can get 6 and plug it into any network and
Right.
and actually pull internet out of any socket simultaneously.
Right, so you don't actually just need one and the other. You can actually have this one, and then add 3 more in different places all around the house. So you can spread this out. Now, it's like wireless networking, though. The more you spread this out and the more of them you add, the lower the bandwidth per device. So if you got 200 megabits transfer back and forth from this original one, then you're dividing it up among whatever's left over now.
That makes sense.
So you can't send like 16 videos all at the same time.
Right.
So.
Okay, so D-Link makes them. I see a couple of Belkins here as well.
So Belkin has the powerline AV, is what it's called. And the reason this one's called AV is because of what we talked about before. Is you've got your TiVo wants it, your Blu-ray wants it, your PS3 wants it. So now we've got 2 of them here, and you'll notice one of them has 1 input.
Yes.
And the other one has 3 outputs.
Wow.
So you can actually connect 3 up to the far end of this.
Right, so the living room really is becoming internetified, which is really good, great news. Good stuff. Okay, good.
So
now what about, let me ask you a little bit about, we've heard about all the pros. What about the cons? Like, is there any downsides to these guys?
There are a couple downsides. Yeah. First of all, when you put this on your network, it sends the signal out along the power line, and that might actually go out of your house and into the house next door.
This is all on a kind of like one big circuit, right?
It is
from the power company.
Yeah, so it'll get blown out and the signal dissipated when it goes to a transformer.
Yeah.
But if you and your neighbor are on the same connection between transformers, then theoretically they could get connected to your network.
So they plug in and they can get your internet. And potentially, I guess, look at all the information flowing on your network too.
Yeah, they could snoop if they wanted to and had that desire.
So, are there any security measures that you can invoke to make these more secure?
Yeah, some of them do have security on board. So we've got the Belkin one right here, and you notice they have little lock mechanisms up top here. So you plug this in on either end, and then press the locking thing, and then it will connect the 2 to each other. So it'll set up an encryption between the 2.
So it'll scramble information between the 2, so that nobody can kind of tap into that. Right?
Exactly.
Just like you would be scrambled, I guess, or encrypted between you and your bank when you do your online banking.
Exactly.
Right?
Now this one right here, there's some software ways that you can deal with it as well. Have a little client running on your machine, but this is right here. Hardware encryption is always a better solution.
Absolutely.
So
that's one pro. That's one con.
That's one con.
Well, I guess one consideration anyway.
Okay. Other con. Okay, we've got this Sling Link, which is your Sling box. That's not the con. This is actually a branded solution from Sling Media. You have the Sling box, so they have this ability to send to another television in the house, potentially, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you might have a power bar near your entertainment center and be tempted to plug this in like this, but you know what? It doesn't work.
How come?
Something about the circuitry of this thing scatters the signal the same way a transformer outside your house does.
Right. Okay.
So
it's not going to work ideally. So you need a free socket then to be able to do that.
You need a free socket right in the wall.
Oh, wow. Well, that could be a problem.
That could potentially be a problem. Now, an extension cord that doesn't have all of this circuitry in it, it's just basically a plug on one end and a plug on the other end, that should work fine, because all that is extending the power rather than putting circuitry and fuses and circuit breakers inside.
So UPS power bar won't work.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Okay, good. And finally, was there anything else just before we get to the price?
The price is a bit of a downside, unfortunately. So, you know, a long cable running from one room to the other, $20 maybe?
Yeah.
These things come in pairs, 120 maybe for a pair of them. Maybe 160 if you go to a place that likes to mark things up a lot.
Right.
You can shop around and get a lower price. But yeah, it can cost a lot of money to just basically extend your network from one place to the other.
Got it. Very good.
It depends how badly you need it in the other room, and you know whether your Ethernet doesn't or your Wi-Fi doesn't reach.
Right. Well, there you go. Practical networking tips from the Lab Rats. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we have Miss Download with her download of the day, and of course your pictures at Picture Time. But first, a message from our sponsor after this. That's pretty good, cool technology. And it's one of the things that I actually surprised me when it first came out. It's kind of, but I know it's what a brilliant idea, especially with multimedia coming to the television.
Yeah, at the beginning of the world of powerline networking, I tried it and I thought this kind of sucks. It doesn't really work all that well. Matt had one interesting point earlier I want to mention before we get to Cheryl, is that if you have this in your, you don't have to have your Wi-Fi router upstairs and just send this out to one in the basement. You can actually do that in the opposite direction. So if you have your cable modem or your DSL modem upstairs, you can plug it directly into this instead of into the router. Plug this downstairs and then plug it into the Wi-Fi router, and then you send that out in a different room as well. So it's very flexible. Just don't think of this so much as a network
or a router
device. It's an extension cord for an Ethernet cable.
An extension cord that uses the electrical wires in your house is an extension cord.
Yes.
Very good. All right. So coming up next, the lovely Cheryl Poirier, Miss Download. She has our download of the day, and who knows what she's cooked up today? I don't know. She has nice hair.
Yes.
So let's check it out.
Find out.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Poirier, and welcome to Miss Download. Today I'm going to tell you about a free program download. It's called Tweak UAC, and what it actually helps you do is it helps, it turns off one particular security feature that Vista has. It allows you to turn it on and off really, really easily. Now, UAC stands for User Account Control, and I'm going to show you exactly what particular security feature I'm talking about. So say I want to change something on my computer like the time or date. I want to change that, thank you very much. And even in admin, when I press change time and date, this little window pops up. Do you really want to do this? And it's kind of annoying, especially when you're trying to reconfigure and install and do a lot of things like a Miss Download would, right? So what Tweak UAC does, I'm going to bring Tweak UAC up here, and I'm going to show you it has three different areas that you can do. So first of all, the first thing you can do is turn UAC off completely, which is really not advised. However, it is an option. Or you can leave UAC on, which is what happened when even in admin, when I was trying to change stuff, it popped up. This is the money feature. Turn UAC on in the quiet mode. Now this is fabulous for parents. What this does is, as a parent, you would have an administrative account, so you're allowed to do changes and things like that on your computer. But you give your kids user accounts, so they're like, nah, you know, they can play, but they can't download anything. Anytime they download something, up pops this, hey, you need a special number or password for it. If you turn the UAC on in quiet mode, though, as an administrator, when you go to change something on your computer, that doesn't pop up. So it just lets you do whatever you want to and change whatever you want to without that notification. You know, when I was looking at this, it kind of reminded me of, you know, being in the car with my dad as little kids. So your dad is like, he's got the control in the car, he's the administrator in the car, and you have to listen to his music. And as a kid in the back seat, you're like the user, right? So you're listening to country music all the way to Prince Edward Island for 24 hours over 3 days with the windows rolled down to 60 miles an hour and like radio cranked up to country music. Anyway, that was brief from my childhood. I wish I had Tweak UAC in the car then. That would have been awesome. Anyway, Tweak UAC, free program. It's actually really extremely convenient, especially if you're a parent and you want to kind of get your kids not to change all that stuff and put up those different backgrounds that they tend to find. I don't know where they find them. Anyway, thanks for watching Miss Download. I'm Cheryl. Come back soon.
You know, the more and more I see Miss Download, the more of a crush I have on her. She's so pretty. I know you're married, he's married. Actually, I have a girlfriend now, too. Okay, don't tell her, okay?
Not for much longer, really. Does your girlfriend watch Lab Rats?
Not yet. That's right. Okay, well, hopefully she won't see this episode. All right, time for picture time to see how pretty you are out there in Lab Rats land. Do you want to do my dance, or we should just get to it?
Let's just get to it.
No dancing today.
All right, I'm already creeped out enough already by this.
Cheryl's
all
lovely.
right.
She's delicious.
I'm not creeped out by Cheryl, dude. All right.
By me.
First up, we have our
New currency.
Emmett, and he sent this along, and he's worth $100. And all I got to say is, don't sell yourself short. Go bigger.
That's right.
$1,000, $1 million. So
good.
there you go. And
where is he from?
Don't know.
Don't know.
Don't know.
See, come on,
I'm gonna go ahead and say from $100 land.
Yeah, very good.
Or Cameroid land.
All right.
And Emmett actually had a quick question. How do you find the model number of your notebook? And the answer is generally, look underneath. There's generally a sticker underneath, and it'll show you the model number and the SKU number, which is essentially the variation of that. But there's generally a sticker on the bottom.
What model are you?
Well, I know what mine is. So next, we have Oliver. with his wife Maria, and they're in the Philippines.
And they're eating chips.
And they're eating chips,
Nice.
Pringles, in front of a gigantic sign talking about furnace blowers and laterals and storehouse and MacArthur's. I'm not 100%
It's
sure.
a bomb-proof shelter for the 1,000-bed hospital.
There we go.
In MacArthur's something or headquarters.
So there we go. This is,
Fun.
yeah, it's interesting. It's different, that's for sure.
I like the chips though. It's fun.
The chips are the nice touch, and the curve of the chips is the same as the curve of the hats.
Very
So
clever,
I like it.
symmetrical. See, eye for visuals.
All
I like
right.
it.
So this is from our viewer Ross in Trenton, Ontario, who's with the military transporting troops around the world.
Very good.
And he actually
cats.
he has adopted a few cats from the SPCA.
Oh, nice.
And this is his cat, Tigger Malone.
Wow. And I guess Tigger is adopted from the SPCA?
Yes.
Society of Prevention of
And
Cruelty to Animals.
A little bit tired here too.
Yeah, very good. All right, love it. Love your pets.
There we
Keep
go.
the pet pictures coming. We love them. Anyway, don't forget, if you want to send your pictures in to us and have it show up on the show, send it to...
Feedback at don'twearahawaiianshirt.com.
No. It's feedback. Feedback at labrats.tv. Ignore this guy over here. You know, you're smart when it comes to gear, but this end bit where you're giving information, not so much. See, smug look on his face. Anyway, don't forget, of course, you can also see all the episodes that we've made over the last couple of years at labrats.tv.
labrats.tv.
Very good. All right.
Right here.
I'm Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
Thank you for downloading and pushing play. We love you, and we'll see you next time.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
Free program.
That was how you got into it before.
Okay.
5, 4, 3.
Hi, Mom. Sorry, I had to do that time. Okay, here we go.